see 6 quarterbacks who are currently listed as the number 1 quarterbacks on their team's depth charts who weren't just a week ago. All right? And those 6 quarterbacks are
All right.
Deshaun Watson,
Okay.
Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan, Mitch Trubisky, Marcus Mariota, and Carson Wentz.
What are we doing with Drew Lock?
Do we count him, I guess?
I know, that's the one I kept looking at, right?
Let's pencil him in, right?
What are we doing with Cam Newton?
I'm convinced Seattle, and I'm not counting Seattle and Carolina, really, because I think they're each going to find a solution that isn't Drew Lock or Cam Newton, respectively.
But yeah. Okay, well, let's go 6.5, 7.
Okay.
Tops.
So let's rank these of the guys who we think will do best next year, all right? Do we agree that Russell Wilson...
I think Russell Wilson will be good.
I think he'll be good. I think there'll be a playoff team.
But there's too much resistance in that division.
Right. Like, I don't think Russ... And I don't think
who
Russell
are they
Wilson...
sweep in the division.
Right. And I don't think Russell Wilson, to be quite honest, takes them to a Super Bowl championship. I just don't. I don't think... I think he's on the backside of his career. So... But I still think, if I'm looking at... I look at 3 out of that 6 as guys who I think could have good seasons. Him... Deshaun Watson, but it's mitigated by the fact that we don't know how much of the season he's going to miss, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Matt Ryan. So almost by default, I would say I expect the best season out of those 3 to probably statistically come from Matt Ryan, now that I think about it, because he's already in a team that is a ready-made playoff team, right? They should have gone last year, but Wentz screwed it up for him. They did go the year before that with Phillip Rivers.
Right.
So now you're just, taking another square peg and putting it in the square quarterback hole.
I think that Matt Ryan could throw for a gabillion yards and go 9-8. I think that could happen.
If he were on a worse team, he could do that. But I think if Matt Ryan just puts together some semblance of a decent season, it's enough with that defense and that running back. It's enough for them to get to 10 wins.
We disagree, but I think Mitch Trubisky is in the top 3 here. I think that he can.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
So you'd put him ahead of Wilson, Ryan, or Watson?
Yeah. Well, I can't rank Watson because he might play as few as 4 games. He might play as many as 13 games. It's tough for me to rank Watson. And also, Deshaun Watson's an otherworldly talent. He's incredibly athletic. He's a great quarterback. He's really, really good. He also hasn't taken a snap in a long time.
Right.
I don't know. And while he was gone from the team this past year, and while he'll be gone, assuming there's a suspension, it's not like he's just going to be working out with the team in the facility, doing all that kind of stuff. He's beholden to having the dedication and the commitment himself to stay in shape and work with somebody. It's not because he's forbidden from going in there while he's suspended. So it's not like he can go in with the Brown staff and work out in the facility all the time.
Right.
So I think that's a big asterisk there. Will he stay in shape? Will he do the things that he needs to do?
That's why I think like I said, I rank the top 3 as Wilson and Ryan, probably 1A and 1B in some order. And then I think Watson does slot in second behind them only because, I'm not saying he's not as talented as those guys. I'm saying exactly what you're saying about not being around the team for 4, 5, 6 weeks, maybe longer, we don't know. Knocking off rust originally after a year off and then knocking off rust again once he's gone through a suspension.
And he's had 2 ACLs. That's the other thing about Deshaun Watson. He's already had 2 surgeries. And I know ACLs now are like getting a fingernail removed. It's like in the case of the NFL for the most part, but it's not like he's undamaged goods at, 26 years old? He's had torn ACLs twice, I think it is. So, I'd rather have him on my team than not.
Not, yeah.
But I don't think...
The player.
But I don't think it's a slam dunk. He's walking in and being this great quarterback.
Okay, so let's take we talked about the top 3 and kind of hashed them out.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom 3, at least in my mind, Trubisky, Mariota, and Wentz.
I'll give you Mariota and Wentz. Mariota stands no chance because there's just no talent around him. And
right.
I think that the coach in Atlanta has done an okay job, but I just wonder if he's somebody that appealed to the owner because of the relationship that the owner has with his dad.
Right. Trubisky's going to have the best year, I think, of those 3. I will grant you that. Even though I'm not excited about the signing, I think he'll have a better year than Mariota in Atlanta because Atlanta's a dumpster fire. And I think he'll have a better year than Wentz because, well, Wentz and the Commanders are just not in good spots.
Baker Mayfield might be almost as good as Carson Wentz at this point in their careers.
I would put Mayfield on a tier with Wentz. Sure.
I mean, I just don't think that Wentz is he's at best an average NFL quarterback right now.
And that's why I think the Colts end up having the best season out of all 6 of these teams because it's an upgrade from Wentz to Matt Ryan, right? I mean, we can argue about how Matt Ryan is sort of backsliding at the end of his career.
It certainly is an upgrade.
But it's an upgrade. And so you take the Colts, who last year were what? Were they 9-8? Okay. Yeah. And I give them an extra win with Matt Ryan over Carson Wentz. Maybe 2 even.
I do, but here's the other thing. You have to factor in injuries, and I think that Matt Ryan at 38 and not particularly wonderfully
might not
mobile.
Play all 17, yeah.
Correct. I think that he's the guy that is most apt to succumb to the 17-game season.
Oh, that's a good call.
You know, now the thing he does have going for him is he's played his whole career at all the home games, at least inside for the most part.
Right.
He's done all of that, and he gets it out he still gets it out quick.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch the Atlanta play this past year.
He had to. He didn't have a choice.
So, but
He's
I
under
think
siege.
At 38 years old, is he going to last through the whole season?
That's a solid question, too. Although they've got so much to lean on there in that offense, especially with Taylor in the backfield. I don't know. I can't tell you this. With just really sort of 2 seats left in the game of QB musical chairs, I'm very curious to see how those teams approach the first round of the draft now in Carolina and Seattle.
Carolina's taking Kenny Pickett.
I'm starting to become convinced of that, but at the same time, if you're Carolina, I don't know.
They're taking Kenny Pickett, and he's plug and play from day one.
It should be that, right? Should be. But then who else is taking a quarterback between Carolina and the Steelers at 20? I mean, the Saints just re-signed Winston. So there's a possibility Malik Willis is sitting there at 20.
Yeah, Seattle.
Seattle, I could see them interested in Willis.
And I wouldn't put it past Washington either. I don't think they're going to believe
take
in
a quarterback.
Carson. Yeah.
To work the model of have a guy sit a year. Carson Wentz will play. I mean, like the Chicago model.
Because they've done so well with young quarterbacks before in Washington.
Well, they're different now. It's a different team.
No.
It's not the football team anymore.
No, it's
Commandos.
Commandos. Yeah, exactly.